Hey world, my name is Lexi and this is my 4-month daughter, Lyla, and we're just nursing right now. And I wanted to share my birth story. My birth did not go the way that I had wanted to. I'm not someone that made a birth plan, but I know I did not want a C-section. Most people don't go into labor wanting a C-section, and I ended up having an emergency C-section. So I just kind of wanted to share my experience, how it felt. She's now 4 months old, so I'm 4 months postpartum, and I kind of wanted to share the healing process and the recovery process and just all the nitty-gritty about birth and postpartum and what it's like having an emergency C-section. And I just want to be able to look back on this one day and remember every little detail possible. Even though it didn't go how I wanted it to, it was still the best day of my life because I got to meet my little love here. Hopefully there won't be any nip slips. Yeah, so let's get started. So on July 16th, or it might have been the 15th, I started feeling really ill. As everyone knows, the coronavirus has been going on. I was honestly worried that I was catching the coronavirus, but no, I was actually going into labor. I was having contractions and a mild fever and body aches, you know, all of the signs of early labor. I just rested a lot. My baby daddy took off work and took care of me. And sure enough, on July 17th at around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, in my sleep, my water broke. And I woke up having to pee, and I noticed that I was drenched. So I just figured that I was like drenched in sweat. And I just went back to bed and was like, whatever, I'll wash the sheets and wash myself in the morning. The morning came and I noticed I was leaking a lot. And it was not like normal, like it didn't look like I was peeing myself. It didn't look like period blood. It just, you know, looked a little different. So I Googled what amniotic fluid looked like, and Google was telling me that my water broke. So I called my OB around 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. on the 17th of July and kind of just explained I've been leaking all day. I had a fever. I think I might be going into labor. I'm 37 weeks pregnant. I forgot to mention that. I was 37 weeks pregnant. So she was slightly early. The OB told me go to the hospital. I went to the hospital and I was put into this room. And with the coronavirus, obviously, no one was allowed to come in with me until I was for sure told, okay, you're in labor and now you can bring your guest up to your hospital room. So they did a test to make sure that my water had actually broke. They just like cotton swabbed me or something, I don't know. And sure enough, my water broke. It was actually not fun being in that room. There was someone else in there laboring who was vomiting, and I don't know why they had her in a room where anyone could come in, but they did, and that wasn't fun to hear. I hope things are good with her now. So after my water definitely was broken and they were like, yes, your water broke, they moved me over to my laboring room and they started giving me induction medicine to kind of speed along the process because I was only 4 centimeters dilated. So they gave me the medicine and then they kind of just explained what the epidural was like and told me to just let them know when I wanted the epidural. I know it takes a while for the medicine to actually like go into your system and make you start contracting, but I felt like it happened really fast. And they were saying like, how do you feel right now on a scale of 1 to 10? It was never that bad at all, like the entire time. And then when it did start to get kind of uncomfortable, I was like, I want an epidural to begin with, so I'm just going to go ahead and get one. So when my pain levels hit around 5, I went ahead and got the epidural. I love the epidural. I wish I could get it every day for the rest of my life because I have body pains all the time. Remember, you can't walk on the baby. He will try. He will act like she's invisible. See? You can't walk on the baby. She weighs more than you now, but which is crazy. She came out 6 pounds, 10 ounces, and now is 15 pounds, and this little guy is what, like, you're like 8 pounds, 7 pounds. You're light. Please don't walk on her, though. We can snuggle later, Banana. Cats are, like, a lot more like people than I think a lot of people. Cats are more like people than most people realize. They want attention, and they get jealous. He hasn't really understood, he's never understood the fact that I have milk in my boobs, and he loves to walk across them. Anyways, where did I leave off? Oh yeah, so when I hit around 5, I got the epidural. I wasn't dilating, and my contractions weren't really getting any stronger, and I wasn't allowed to eat anything once I got the epidural, which was just awful. They didn't even want me eating anything before the epidural. Like, they were giving me soup and jello and like water and ice cubes to eat, so that wasn't fun. But my baby daddy kept sneaking me Pringles, so I kept eating my Pringles, and those were the best Pringles of my life in that moment in time. My babies. Ow, my nipple. Can you please, banana? I didn't know that I birthed you on July 17th. So hours passed, nothing was progressing, and I was getting starving, and I wasn't feeling well, so I tried to go to bed, but I had a thing around my arm measuring my blood pressure, and it hurt, and every 5 minutes it would go off, so I kept getting woken up and I couldn't sleep, and then they kept having me change positions. The nurse came in around, I want to say like 8:30 to 9, and had me flip to one side and said that Lila's heart rate was low and they couldn't find it. So she moved around the what keeps track of her heart rate, and they flipped me around and they put a ball in between my legs. She came back in 15 minutes later, said that they couldn't find her heart rate, it was freaking them out, so they wanted me to move, and they just kept having me do that a few more times. So someone finally came in and was like, your baby's heart rate is dropping really low, and it's becoming very dangerous, and we want to let you know that this is looking like you might need to get a C-section, and we just want to give you the consent papers so that you can sign it in case if that does happen. And they ran over like what would happen and what my body would be going through and what the process would look like, and then they had me sign it, and I was very hesitant. Honestly, in that moment, I just started crying and felt trapped, and like I was stuck in that hospital, and I was like, you know, all wired up, and I had that epidural, I couldn't walk, and I felt like I was basically being told, your baby's gonna die, or you're gonna have to get cut into and have your baby taken out of you. To me, that was just very traumatic. I get squeamish about anything like that. So when I was told that I was gonna be cut into possibly, otherwise her life would be at risk, obviously it felt like the end of the world to me in that moment. Like, everything just was put on pause, and I swear I felt like I was dreaming. It still doesn't even really feel real to me. I signed it because I didn't really have a choice. This is like, my baby's life is on the line, and obviously, like, as a parent, you would die for your child, but when it comes down to that moment where you might have to die for your child, C-sections are life-threatening. I am terrified of death. That's the first thing I thought about. Literally, my whole world stopped. I was like, I might not get to hold my baby. I might never get to see my baby. But I, you know, texted my family. They sent me their encouraging words. It was actually my sister Emily who was like, you can do this, you're strong, you got this. That really got me through it and powered me through that C-section. So the doctors came back in and told me that I am gonna need to get a C-section, and it is becoming very life-threatening and very dangerous for Lyla. And so I was wheeled back into the operating room. My baby daddy was with me, holding my hand the entire time. I was given the spinal epidural, which was amazing. I need the spinal epidural every day with the back pains that nursing gives me. In about 5 minutes, they pulled Lyla out of me. Which is just outstanding and amazing, and that's just so cool to me that it really only took 5 minutes. And in that moment in time, I was like, I'm so glad I didn't just have to push out this baby. Like, she was just taken out for me. Hey Girl Scouts, just wanted to add in real quick that those weren't my only thoughts when she was taken out of me. They like lifted her up in the sky and she was crying, and I started sobbing and was like, oh my god, look at her. And it was the most beautiful baby cry that I've ever heard in my entire life, because normally when babies cry, it's like ear deafening and sounds like an eagle screeching and dying. But it was the best day of my life, so just wanted to add that in real quick. Yeah, thanks. Bye. The 40 minutes of them closing me back up had to have been the hardest part of the entire day. I was so nauseous because that kind of operation and the medicine that they give you can make you really, really nauseous. So they gave me nausea medicine too, and I had a little throw up thing. I was laying down, flat on my back, had a little throw up thing. I hope I'm not flashing my nipple. Had a little throw up thing right next to me, and I was dry heaving the entire 40 minutes. The entire 40 minutes. I was sitting there like, and I could see my blood being sucked into a tube next to me. Sorry if that grosses anyone out. It grossed me out too. Honestly, it went by so fast just because of the fact that I guess was so occupied with trying not to throw up that I didn't even realize it had been 40 minutes. It felt like probably 10. Oh yeah, and when I was throwing up or dry heaving, I was like, what if I choke? I ate Pringles. I was like, they're gonna find out I ate Pringles. At one point during them stitching me back up, one of the nurses moved my heart monitor and it went flat. And then I had an out-of-body experience and I was like, am I dying? Am I dying? And I started getting all lightheaded. So baby daddy, during the meantime, he had the option to either stay with me or go back with the baby. I told him to go back with Lyla because I didn't want her first of all, it's his big day too. Second of all, I didn't want her first moments of life to be without one of her parents. She's heard my voice and his voice the most from the time she was conceived. He cut her umbilical cord. Even though she was already pulled out of me, they left it long enough for him to cut some of it off. Because personally, I wanted him to have that experience. My dad cut me out of my mom. So I kind of wanted him to have that with Lyla. He held her while they stitched me back up, and he waited and did skin on skin with her for me to come back in there. And then the second I went back in there, I immediately held her. They're like, you wanna hold your baby? I was like, duh. They gave me my baby, we did skin on skin. She immediately nursed, which is just the coolest thing, watching like a little tiny baby like sniff for your nipple and like move their head on their own to your nipple. It is the coolest thing. It's so cool that they just pop out of the womb and they know what to do. It's just nature, natural instincts. Recovery for the first few hours afterwards looked a lot like me laying in bed, holding Lyla and just, being on cloud 9. I had a catheter in, so I did not have to worry about getting up to go to the bathroom. Pooping was like out of the question because when you get a C-section, they have to like cut through your abs, they have to move your uterus around, they move your abs, they cut through your uterus. Maybe they cut through all of it, I don't know. Regardless, a lot of bloating happens down there, and pooping is something that doesn't happen for like almost a week. I don't know if that's TMI, but I just want to keep it real. I don't want to forget any part of what I went through because I'm astounded by what my body is capable of. Really, pregnancy and just becoming a mom and watching my body grow and home a human all on its own for 37 weeks. And then even though whatever happened during my labor process and things I don't want to say it failed, but things went left and we had to go an alternative route, the way my body has healed in these past 4 months just amazes me. Because I had a C-section, I had to stay in the hospital for longer than usual. I was there for 3 days, 2.5 days, and it was amazing. I loved having room service, and the worst part is getting up to walk, because when they took the catheter out, at that point, I had no option but to get up and go to the bathroom, and I was full on bleeding, so I had to start changing my pad. And it was just all very hard to do when you had just been dug into down there. My whole upper torso felt like a noodle that could just fall over and that all my guts would just spill out of me. I had a belly band on to try to make it feel like it was holding everything together. I felt like any slight movement I took, my incision would just split open, which is a possibility. It's rare, but it is a possibility. It's funny though, because now I can completely joke about it and I'll be like, hey Lyla, do you want to go back inside? And I'll pretend to shove her head like into my stomach where the scar is. Probably for the first 2 days, I needed help getting up and walking. And then for the first week, I needed help just sitting up and getting out of bed and getting into the shower. And it was really just the process of laying down to sitting up that was really hard. You can't bend over or pick up anything heavier than your baby, but to be honest, I could barely even pick up my baby. But that didn't last long at all. Probably once I hit after 1 week, it's like I woke up one day and I mean, I was given good pain meds, but I just woke up one day and could walk and bend over and lift heavy things. I did it way too soon. I probably should have kept resting even though my body feeling ready, because I think it was more so like adrenaline that I was running on and caffeine and pain meds. I probably should have kept resting, but to be honest, after about a week, I was up walking around the house, cleaning, lifting like the bassinet with her in it, just doing things I shouldn't have done. It took a while for my scar to heal up. I feel like that was why that constant bending over. I couldn't lift up my cats because they were heavier than her, but I continued to lift them up. How can you not cuddle with your cats for 4 weeks? That's how the healing process went. I was terrified of the healing process of a C-section. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get out of bed now. I'm gonna need meals brought to my bedside. Nope, I didn't need that, even though that would have been really nice. Once I hit the 4-week mark, postpartum, and I had my checkup and I was given the pass to start working out again, I did, and I would do sit-ups and squats, and then I ended up throwing my back out. I threw it out and then I nursed every day. So I'm sitting like this for hours every day, and it will feel amazing when I'm not holding her. And then the second I sit down and hold her again, it hurts so bad. So I just haven't even bothered working out. I just do light walks, and when my body's ready, I'm probably gonna start doing yoga and avoid anything that involves like my back. I think that I started too soon and that my abs weren't fully back together yet and strong yet. So when I was doing the sit-ups, my back was actually what was pulling me up and not my abs. My advice for if you are C-section, postpartum, looking to get into workouts, make sure you're fully healed. Really listen to your body. Don't push yourself. I tried adding on more and more sit-ups every day. I was basically going like 5 sit-ups and 10 sit-ups and 15 sit-ups and 20 sit-ups and like adding 5 each day, way faster than my body could handle it, because I hadn't been doing those kinds of workouts for 9 months straight when I was pregnant with her. I don't even think it's safe to be doing ab workouts when you're pregnant. I guess we can get into sex. It's different for me, but I still had to avoid it because obviously like my cervix was still thinned and opened for preparing for vaginal birth. So I still had to avoid having sex. And when I did have it, it did not hurt for me at all. Not trying to be TMI or anything, but I'm a 22-year-old woman, so just keeping it real. Moving on, body image. So I would love to say that I love the way I look. And honestly, I love my boobs. Like, I'm so thankful that they grew. I waited my entire life for my boobs to grow after having a kid. Like, seriously, I would always sit there and be like, I want to get a boob job, but I know they're going to grow after I have a baby, so I'm just going to hold off. And sure enough, I don't feel like I need to get a boob job anymore. My stomach area, I'm really learning to love it, but I just don't. And so now my stomach, where my C-section scar is, has a slight overhang. I call it my kangaroo pouch to add some humor to it because it makes me feel better about it. There's also lots of stretch marks around my hips coming up from my scar towards my belly button. There's a stretch mark around my belly button that looks like a little red circle. I have it in between my legs and down my thighs and around my butt cheeks and around my boobs and under my armpits. I went from being a small to a large. I had gestational diabetes, so I must mention that, which is just pregnancy diabetes. When I got pregnant, my body couldn't regulate the sugar and I got gestational diabetes and I packed on weight. So that really made my skin stretch, and made fat pack on to where Lyla was, which is normal and natural, and there's nothing wrong with that. Moms, after giving birth, have so much pressure put on our backs to go to our pre-baby body. And for many people, that's just simply impossible. Like, yeah, my scars will fade over time, but they're always gonna be there. There's gonna be areas of my body that are always going to be morphed. Like my hips are wider, my feet went up half a size. I was told, don't worry, you'll bounce back. You had the nicest body. I have an amazing body now because it did this. And it's still nurturing her every day. My boobs have grown her to be 15 pounds when she was 6.10 pounds. My goals are not to get to pre-baby body self, but my goals are to tone my body and to lose weight in the area where there was fat packed on to protect her. I just personally, like, I went from being very small with a flat stomach to now having fat rolls, and I want that gone. Like, sue me. Don't, please. I'm going to read some quotes that I found that make me feel better about C-sections. Shout out to the belly birth mamas, the warrior women who lay their lives on the operating... Shout out to the belly birth mamas, the warrior women who lay their lives on the operating table for their little ones. You were brave. You were bold, you were beautiful, you were courageous. I love that one. It definitely makes me feel great about my story. May you always know your strength, see your beauty, and honor the sacred doorway through which your child was born. And there's some really cool artwork that I've found that goes along with this. Anyone's watching this and they have an Instagram, follow Spirity Soul. Post a lot of birth art and really cool pictures of C-section art and breastfeeding art and just all kinds of like pregnant women art and all of that. Really talented, and that's where I find these things, so I just want to give them some credit. I don't think I ever shared how my C-section actually made me like really feel at the end of all of it. My hormones and my adrenaline was running so fast. I just felt like I was dreaming. I was on cloud 9, really. Hi, baby. And I would have to say now my experience looking back, or my feelings looking back on the way that my birth went, is I wouldn't change it. I don't think there's anything I could do to have changed it. That's how it was meant. That's what God's plan was for me and for Lyla. And the only thing I don't like about it after all of this is my stomach area. And that's an area that I will learn to love, and that will change over time because bodies are ever changing. So I just need to remember to be kind to myself. I also wanted to add in that I have a daughter now, so how I feel and speak about my body will teach her how she should feel and speak about her body. So I want to be really mindful to accept the change that came with my body and show her that change is normal, and it's also okay if you don't feel great about yourself, but to still speak kindly to yourself. Note to future you, Lyla. Love yourself. Love, Mom. I also, I haven't had any nightmares or flashbacks to my C-section. I think maybe that's because when I think of it, I don't associate any pain to it. My epidural worked well. I didn't feel a thing. I didn't even really feel tugging. Like they said that you would feel tugging. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel anyone cut into me and pull her out. It felt like maybe people were pushing on me a little down there, but that's it. Postpartum depression. I definitely did get hit with postpartum depression. It's really the first few months when you're trying to learn and navigate being a new mom, and it's such a huge adjustment period, and those hormones are trying to regulate in your body. Hi world! My name is Lyla, and I'm 4 months old now, and my postpartum journey has been filled with lots of learning and boobies, and I'm a happy baby and I'm a sleepy baby. And I don't really like being filmed, but every now and again, Mommy catches cute moments of me. And I was sitting there thinking, the C-section was probably more traumatic for her. Imagine being yanked out of your mom. And her heart rate was dropping. So who knows how she was feeling inside of there. I love you, and I'm so glad that I have you and that you're happy and you're safe and you're in my arms. 4 months later, we've made it through 4 months together. And you slept through your entire birth story. So maybe one day you'll watch this and you'll be like, wow, Mom, you ate Pringles while you were in labor with me? Yeah, and you probably got some of those Pringles before you were yanked out of me. So, don't think that anyone should be scared if they are scheduled for a C-section or if they're in the moment and are being told you are about to have an emergency C-section. You will be fine. You're brave. You're strong. You've made it through pregnancy. You've made it through so much in your life. You're doing wonderful things. You're going to be an amazing, amazing mother. Your baby's going to be healthy and cute and beautiful no matter what way they pop out of you. They're going to hold your hand and you're going to love it so much. And they're going to love when you sing the ABCs. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So that was my emergency C-section birth story. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video. Do you want to say anything? No? If you're watching this and you're about to go through birth, I hope nothing I said scares you and just motivates you more to know that you're so strong and you're going to do an amazing job. Postpartum is not as scary or as hard as people make it seem. It's been an adventure, it's been a roller coaster, and I do have to say that people are right when they say that your little peanut makes every hard moment worth it and that you will get through it. Each new stage brings hard moments and good moments. I need to go and change her diaper. So yeah, let's say bye. Peace out, Girl Scouts. Say bye.